Anwar Said obtained his Bachelor of Architecture degree, B.Arch, from the University of Liverpool, England in 1964. He was elected Associate Member of the Royal Institute of British Architects, ARIBA, in 1967. In November 2016, he was elected Fellow of the Royal Institute of British Architects, FRIBA. Anwar Said was appointed Associate Member of the Institute of Architects of Pakistan, IAP, in 1965. He was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by the IAP in 2003. He was elected Fellow of the Institute of Architects of Pakistan, FIAP, in 2006. He was appointed one of the founding committee members of the Pakistan Council of Architects and Town Planners, PCATP. In 1968, Anwar Said joined the Capital Development Authority Islamabad, Pakistan as Director of Architecture, Chief Architect of the capital city, and was in charge of designing all government buildings. He served in the Capital Development Authority for a continuous 32-year period as Director Architecture, Director General Design, and as Member Design. During this period, he was responsible for designing over 150 buildings. In addition, Anwar Said set up his private firm Said Architects in 1981 and designed embassies, banks, schools, and residences. Mr. In his private capacity, Anwar Said was selected in 1987 to carry out the design of the Consular and Immigration Building by the British High Commission at Islamabad, to be located in the diplomatic enclave at Islamabad, adjacent to the main British High Commission building. The design carried out by Mr. Anwar Said was in keeping with the brutalist fair-faced concrete buildings of the existing High Commission. This was Mr. Said's fourth building constructed in the brutalist manner of which he was an ardent proponent. This book shows the plans, elevations, photographs of the building and a compilation of the working drawings of the project which may be of interest to architectural students.